Alright, video. Hit the button anyway. Thunderfoot, yes. So I thought, he put a couple of these clips, some of my more brilliant moments on the internet. And that's called quote mining, you see. So that's what he basically did here. And, I haven't read the comments. I don't know if there's, I don't know. Let's see. So, it looks like I was pretty close to the mark when I said, I don't debate enemies, I bury them. Yeah, well, whatever, Phil. Anyway. yes, I'd love the opportunity to debate Phil on just about almost his pantheism. Let's do that one. That might be fun. Because he has some sort of religious theory, correct? I mean, you don't. Well, anyway. So just anything though. Really, physics would be great. That's all a sham and a fraud, based on really stupid premises. He does a lot of that telescope stuff. Maybe he wants to have an argument about the validity of lensing. So, galactic lensing or solar lensing or any one of the lensings. Yeah. Anyway. Alright, so I'll play this just for the fun of it, but
the telephone pole rammed right the fuck up his ass, because that's what he deserves. He deserves to be raped for eternity.
Okay, so
I came across this wonderful article called
Right, so I don't know. So my clip was the last clip, which is nice, thank you. Appreciate it. And I actually had 2 appearances at least. Who's going to listen to 8 minutes of I'm just going to quote mine all the people who don't like me and try to make them look stupid, blah 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 blah, instead of actually having an argument about something. So so let's just go with why I was that animated. Was because he said something so stupid and he never retracted it. He never fixed it. Okay, so I'll go with he says lots of stupid things, okay, but the one that was just so glaring was that a woman's not raped if she doesn't go to the cops. So it just, it was such a preposterous insensitivity to the position women are in, which is really difficult. Well, I could add that in more context, yeah, because he also did the basically suggesting women should, if they don't want to get raped, should stay in their closet or, wear a chain link burqa. That's basically what he said. It's women's fault if they get raped. If they go out into the wild, okay, without a gun, it's their fault. That kind of argument. That they should think of our civilization as this hostile, evil place full of men who can't control themselves. Because apparently that's what they want to justify. They want to keep saying, like Donald Trump, I can't help it. I got to kiss them. I can't, there's no mental restraint I could possibly impose, like, gee, that's fucking rude. Rude? What's rude? I don't know what rude is. I guess Thunderfoot has that same kind of problem. He just can't, can't figure out what rude is. But anyway, just the argument, okay, it's just so, if I was playing the game, I could just quote mine him. I could go find him saying that stupid thing, and I could just play him saying it over and over and over again. Like I used to do with Venom Fang X. I could just play him doing the same thing over and over and over. But I'm not a petty asshole. And also, I'm just not going to invest that much time in this. But I'm just saying that you don't have to think very long. You just have to say, he's supposed to be a scientist, PhDs and stuff. And to have no imagination and have a PhD, that's kind of surprising. But I suppose it's, doable. But apparently, he just can't imagine any other circumstance but what's written in his book or his, what's on his bubblegum wrappers. And that's it. He can't think anywhere beyond that. Somebody else has to tell him. He has to heard it somewhere. Because he can't think for himself. So he can't imagine what it'd be like to be a woman. Being in a position where, you like somebody. And you trust them, and it was a mistake. And yeah, you didn't put up enough of a fight to have your face broken. You might have some bruises, but you're not going to be able to go into court and prove anything. All you're going to be able to prove is that you had sex, maybe, and that maybe you fell down the stairs later. In a delirium after the wonderful orgasm or something. But yeah, there won't be any way for you to actually prove you were raped. And he doesn't understand that. And his solution, again, is just basically saying to women, you better watch out. Okay, because we're not going to have any empathy. We're not going to have any understanding. And we're going to humiliate the fuck out of you. And it again ignores the whole process of pressing charges. The whole invasive process of having, you know, your anus swabbed and your vaginas and all this stuff, pictures taken of your naked body. It's going to be in court. All of this kind of stuff. No, that, you know, that's not adding real pain and suffering to the pain and suffering already endured. But I'm just saying, you know, I don't want to go preaching on it. I mean, this is something like, it should be a, I mean, you can make lots of arguments. You want to make arguments about how life is unfair for little men's, and, you know, women's are trying to take over and they're all meanie, dykey bitches and such. Well, go ahead, okay? Knock yourselves out, idiots. But don't make stupid arguments. And it's just a fucking stupid argument to say women aren't raped if they don't go to the cops. I mean, first, they're smart enough to know it's a serious charge. They have to be able to prove it. And there'd be no point in going through the horrific process of proving it, as I've just illustrated. The whole examination process, the whole your life is going to be examined now. Everybody you winked at, you know, is, you know, your whole sexual history. I mean, it's, you know, just, it's a silly expectation. Silly. But yeah, it just gives him an excuse to say rape isn't a real thing. It's not really happening because, oh, there's only 1 million of them reported, so I'll just forget about the other, you know, 9 for every 1 reported that took place, and I'll just ignore that it's a real problem. And that it's a problem because men are rude and uncivilized. And there's no reason they should be. I mean, there's no reason to think that there aren't lots of decent men in the world who manage to go through their life without raping any women. And there'd be no reason for them to say, oh yeah, but that 1 in 10 men who's a little rapey, you know, and the, you know, 1 in 20 who's a lot rapey, and I'll make excuses for them. Because I'm a guy? I mean, come on. Just such bullshit. Alright. So that was idiotic comment 1. Like I said, there were others. I mean, I might as well bring up the, I mean, there's another one on this subject, so I probably should stick with the ones on this subject, but I can't think of it at the moment, so I'll just do the other one was, you know, where Thunderfoot, you know, I was arguing anti-natalism, and his comeback, you know, he's just such a casual thinker, such a reckless and sloppy thinker. You know, if he's not doing a scripted video, he's capable of making a lot of mistakes when he's doing a live performance, so to speak. And yet he'll quote mine other people's live performances. You know, he doesn't do them very well, but he'll quote mine other people doing them. So anyway, but yeah, so we were both live in the conversation, and you know, he comes back with a comeback that basically saying, well, that philosophy will go extinct, you see, because they don't reproduce. And some, you know, implying that philosophy and reproduction have some connection, which they fundamentally don't. Now, obviously, in our civilization they do, in the sense that idiocracy is taking over, and, you know, Muslim breeds Muslim, Catholic breeds Catholic. But that's usually how it works, right? Asshole breeds asshole. But people that have, like, are atheists, for example, they don't necessarily breed true. Okay, there's no reason to assume. And again, so would he say because atheists statistically reproduce less than fundamentalist Christians, that atheism is a losing philosophy and it will be buried on the ash heap of history because of it? So again, just a fundamentally fallacious, you know, logical fallacy argument made aggressively by him, mockingly. Ha 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 ha, I've dispensed with your subject kind of attitude. That just defines Thunderfoot's recklessness. Yeah. Okay. So, oh yeah, the other woman thing was, right? So yeah, the whole blaming women for starting something there, the man's going to finish kind of attitude. And so he's done this sort of preaching that it's your own fault, slut, or you loose women doing loose things with men. It's your fault. Okay, you played with the tiger or whatever. Now the tiger bit your head off, kind of attitude. And this has come from a guy, like I said, that we could play the video of Thunderfoot wearing girls' bikini, okay, in a kind of a swimming pool, but kind of a hot tub, with two chicks, okay, who he wasn't telling them, he wasn't warning them, hey, you shouldn't be doing this with me, because, this is recreationally sexual, and you're at jeopardy of being raped now, because you've asked for it, okay, by touching me and wearing a bikini in the water with me, you have now invited rape. So that was essentially his argument, that it's the woman's fault, that men can't control themselves, and yet he was in that situation with people he would call women he respected, and yet he didn't have enough respect for them to say, you shouldn't do that. Okay, healthy addict? No, put on your burqa. Okay, you don't play around in bikinis with men. This is not something you do, because we cannot make a distinction between flirting and having fun and I'm entitled to sex. That's his argument. So I'm just saying that is so pathetically obnoxious. And the fact that I have, like I said, 3 sisters, well, I didn't say it in this video, but I had 3 sisters. Yeah, maybe I'm a little more conscious of what lying men can do. Okay, how they can impose ruin. And frankly, every woman I've ever known in any kind of intimate or substantially close way, they tended to be attractive women, and they had rape stories. And they had lying bastard stories. Significant, not little damage, substantially obnoxious events, and to be insensitive on that subject. Like I said, you want to argue that all women don't got it so bad, they get to inherit their husband's money and blah blah blah. You want to make those silly arguments, make them. But to make these idiotic arguments about how men and women are in some kind of sexually equal position is just fucking retarded. I mean, women don't have the luxury of going out for a walk on the beach even. They can't just walk alone on the beach. No, because we can't make it safe for them. Because apparently all the men are saying, oh, no, I can't. We can't control men. We can't say men who rape women are wrong. We can't say that we should be able to ensure that they could feel comfortable because we can't be trusted and all this kind of shit. And even if you say you can't do anything about it, then admit that now that it puts women at a substantial disadvantage in their lives, obligating them to go with somebody or do this or do that and all that other kind of crap. It's quite inconvenient, and men certainly wouldn't want that restriction on their lives. I wouldn't want to have to worry that some rednecks are in the woods and they're going to, do some sort of deliverance thing and oink me. Yeah, it's not realistically a big threat. Kind of a tiny threat, a minuscule threat. So I don't have to worry about it. And men who don't have to worry about these things should have a little bit of appreciation for the fact that women pay for their physical disadvantage and for their hormonal disadvantages, and their liability that they are the one who will get pregnant and all of this other stuff, and not to have any sensitivity to that, just to sit there and pretend we're on some equal playing field. It's just obnoxious. I mean, it's like punching a midget in the face or something and just pretending he's not shorter than you and a quarter of your size. It's just bullshit. Like, you know, saying grow up to him or something. You know, walk up to a midget and say, grow up, fucker. You know, this is bullshit. So anyway, so Thunderfoot's an asshole, and I've said it. You know, and the fact that, yeah, it's an honest statement. There's a lot of people on this planet who I don't think do humanity or civilization any fucking good with their arrogant, nihilistic, selfish crap of an attitude. And that's all Thunderfoot is talking from. He's a petty, selfish male, okay, who's got all these pent-up resentments, you know, because maybe he hasn't been able to take what he wanted in life. But that's all this shit is out of. It's all his own resentments. You don't get the truth this wrong, okay, unless you're doing it for some personal reason. Yeah, there's more to it. Yeah. So yeah, so that's probably enough context. Like I said, using my clips, fine. I mean, I suppose if he's going to use random clips from videos like that, the least he could do. Okay, I mean, he doesn't ask permission. He doesn't say, give you a fair warning. And then, you know, he's in a, you know, he's using them, and he doesn't reference who any of these people are. He doesn't put their name under them, or I don't think he did anyway. And certainly doesn't link to their channels. Yeah, there's no name on here or anything. So he just plays it like, you know, we don't even get to make our counter argument. So essentially, he gets to show. It's like an artist or something. I could make something, a sculpture. Thunderfoot could shit on it. Say, okay, it's my, you know, take a picture of it with shit on it, and say, well, this is my, you know, public domain copy. Okay, this is a, you know, I have a right to it because I'm going to mock you. Which again, see, this is another thing of intent. You know, what exactly is Thunderfoot's intent in doing this to all these people? Is it really to inform? Because shouldn't information be required to have some sort of context? So it doesn't really look like he's informing anybody. It looks like he's just trying to humiliate them or degrade them or insult them. And he's doing it with their copyrighted material. I mean, material they own until you go to court and find out that you have a right to take it. But I'm just saying the right to take it doesn't include a malicious purpose. And so I would just argue that I think when Thunderfoot used Venom Fag X's image in the Batman mask, or did this and mocked him with the, you know, doing silly things to his image, he didn't have any kind of honest purpose. He wanted to mock him. He wanted to humiliate him. He wanted to do something maliciously damaging. And it didn't have anything to do with informing or telling what's called a joke. See, jokes have to be in the realm of realistically funny in the environment it's being presented in. Now, this isn't like a comic video. This is a video saying, I'm Thunderfoot, I'm the king of debating, I win, I defeat all enemies, nobody can demonstrate me to be a fool or an asshole because I defeat them all. That's what this video is. This isn't a comic video. Okay, this is a Thunderfoot glorification video, and how I've smited my enemies by quote mining their videos. I mean, realistic, come on. So, like I said, I'm sure I could go through the old videos of Thunderfoot, you know, debating, whatever, the assholes he's debating. He even lost the debate to that stupid banana guy. I mean, he got lost in some insanely stupid argument, right? So he's gonna debate a Christian, and he goes into the argument from the nihilist position, where he basically can't even make any. He can't even say, no, torture's wrong, or even something like rape is wrong. It's not really wrong. It's only wrong if you think it's wrong. I mean, that was almost his argument. And obviously, you're going to look pretty stupid to an audience of Christians. Why would they say, oh yes, I'll leave Christianity if the option is, oh, I become a nihilist, raping, selfish, jackass who always thinking about my genetic code or something? I'm too stupid to figure out that things can be harmed in the world? So why don't we have an argument, Thunderfoot, about vegetarianism? I mean, you don't make any videos on it, but do you understand that other mammals have a very slight difference to us, and that the capacity to feel has probably been around for hundreds of millions of years? Do you understand that? You want to argue about what insect brains are doing? What the function of sensation is in its most basic form? You know, reward and punishment. Again, we could just argue whatever your pantheism is. Well, what do you really believe? I mean, besides making some idiotic statement like there's no such thing as reality. Yeah, I think I could argue that. That's pretty stupid. So I mean, if you can't materially see it, it doesn't exist. So nothing has a form, right? I mean, I've made this argument before, but I mean, the existence of something, like I could say, there's no tangible thing called pain in my brain. It's an arrangement. But if I make the arrangement, and many brains have a common mechanism for creating that sensation. I mean, most of the mammals will have a very similar mechanism inside the brain that is the arrangement of neuronal stimulation that creates the conscious experience of pain. And if I put that in a bottle somewhere, it's pain. I mean, I can cut off all the parts that are unnecessary, right? I can cut off my hands, and I can cut off my feet. I can cut off everything, right? I just keep cutting off the parts that aren't essential to consciousness. So, I mean, the modern mystic made this argument, and it's just such a silly, like somehow our being is our whole body or something is doing consciousness. And it's just so stupid, because we already know you can cut off huge hunks of it. Just huge, huge, huge. And even the brain, you could cut off pieces of it and big chunks, and you still have a conscious thing. Maybe don't count too good, maybe his vocabulary won't be too good, but he'll still feel. So we know it's an arrangement of brain. And it doesn't matter where you put that arrangement. You can put it behind Venus, you can put it anywhere, on the rings of Saturn. Wherever I put that arrangement, it's going to be doing this thing called bad feeling. And it's just plain bad. Alright, so anyway, so a little philosophy added in for free. So I don't think I have to say much else. So I'm just, like I said, just defending myself, and it's not terrible. You know, it doesn't mean much to me. Okay, thank you for my 15 seconds of useless fame. Okay, because I wasn't referenced as anybody. And fine, whatever. You know, there was a little other gratuitous things. You know, Christina, you know, somebody, see, he reads some 4-year-old blog post, and then is, whatever, reading it and doing this, whatever, fail stuff, the cartoons he steals other people's shit just to make his points, because he can't make one articulately. You know, associates people with spiders. You know, but he had Christina in here. You know, and I'm sure he didn't ask, hey, Christine, is it okay I show these pictures of you? You know, I'm sure he didn't ask to do that or anything. You know, he just takes, you know, and that's somebody he's being nice to. Yeah, right. Yeah, nice guy. So anyway, yeah, we just know that, well, Thunderfoot is just like, let's see, look, it's even this. See, this is a video about Lucy Green, and yeah, I mean, that was known from the very beginning, right? I mean, it's a very, I mean, that's like the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. She's low-hanging fruit. So why don't you, you know, if you're so strong and powerful, why don't you take on the strong and powerful instead of taking on the low-hanging fruit? And yeah, it is kind of silly, feminists, okay, arguing with their boobs. That is kind of silly. That's what you say. You just go, hey, that's kind of silly. Okay, that's kind of like being, but people do lots of silly stuff, right? People who say they care for animals or something, and then what do they do? Like with cats. I mean, I found out this is what they do. They see a bunch of homeless cats on the street, and they spend a whole bunch of, because they have to save them. So they spend a whole bunch of money to cut their nuts off, and then throw them back on the street again. And they think they've done something compassionate. I did such a wonderful thing for the animal. I put him through a unpleasant procedure and took away fundamentally their reason for living. Frankly. I mean, for the rest of their life they're going, how come I can't get this shit going? They're chasing bitches and going, psh, I know you're hot, but I can't do anything about it. I mean, that's not doing something a favor. So, I mean, yeah, there's lots of people, they do hypocritical things and, just stupid. And I might have even done that once or twice. I don't really think so, but these little tiny ones maybe. But anyway, but yeah, so, pick a fight. This is, like I said, he's just taking the extreme to pick a fight with. And yeah, maybe I look like a cartoon character. Okay, so yes, you can quote mine me and make me seem like some sort of idiot or fool. But I don't think you can do it in a real conversation. I don't think you can do it in a real debate. And so why don't you try that, fuckhead? Because the rest of this shit is you're just being a pussy. This is just pussy bullshit. Yeah, that's all. So anyway. Yeah, that's... He's so wildly popular. Oh, I'm so wildly popular. I'm thunderf00t. So many things. Like even this solar thing, right? He takes on this. I mean, this water thing was just so grotesquely stupid. Like, oh, what you mean? Human beings have been around on Earth, doing, having to live anyway for thousands of years. They've had some form of civilization, and we're supposed to believe that nobody figured out, hey, if you make a hole in the ground, it'll fill up with water. No, it won't. If you blow air in it, fan some air into it, it'll fill up with water. Anyway. So, yeah. Stupid. But the solar thing, right? He picks on this solar roadway thing, which is really dumb. But why not pick on, there's idiots on the internet suggesting people should put solar panels on the top of their cars, which is really dumb. But why don't you argue, and he's comparing it to putting panels on roofs, and why the fuck is putting panels on roofs, how does that make any fucking sense? I mean, they don't tilt. They might have a better angle at the sun, but they don't even do that. I mean, they don't change the angle for the time of year. The roof pitch isn't necessarily the right pitch to hit the sun, and they don't turn. They don't tilt. So they're losing 30% right there. So why don't you mock this whole idea of doing this stupid putting panels on roofs shit, when they should be putting the panels on farms and getting maybe 60% more electricity. 60% more electricity. I mean, you could just point that out. I mean, the solar roadway is really preposterous, right? Because roofs are 60% inefficient, and then the road thing is 90% inefficient. I mean, just so many ways you just say, well, any idiot can figure out this ain't gonna work. I mean, realistically, the glass is going to get frickin' torn to pieces. It's going to end up just reflecting all the light. It's just stupid. Anyway. So, till the next time and such, and so forth and whatnot. Except when it rains. I guess it would do better when it rains. Because then that will fill in all the defects in the glass. But anyway, enough said. So, that's just so stupid. Anyway, I was just trying to think if there was some kind of like thing we could, argue. Like, let's just invent, like, let's just make up something. Aluminum roadways. And just see if there's some way we could, yeah, why not? Why don't we go with like aluminum roadways? Is it doable? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, lots of aluminum, It's the #1 element on Earth, aluminum. So maybe we should have aluminum roadways. Sorry, yeah, I just was, I would have aluminum roadways to nowhere, just so we could get rid of the humans, because they're the ones fucking this whole thing up anyway. Disgusting creatures. Anyway, that's enough for the video. I think it's enough. I don't know if there's anything else I could just throw in. Oh yeah, to those who give a damn, I probably shouldn't say this at the end of a long, crappy video, but, well, I can say it more than once. I can say it some other time. I actually did fix the link to the RSS feed for the podcast, to the What the Fucks. So the What the Fuck link thingy, podcast thing, that RSS feed now should work, in all these, whatever, podcaster places and whatnot. So, what the hell was the address? I'm trying to think. I don't remember what I called it. Doesn't matter. I can post a link. And so, anyway, till next time, and such. I think that's enough. Well, I'll just throw in. I mean, I've said this before, but I just throw it in again, just because there's all these people and this stupid. We got real problems coming up. I mean, there's, people just hate each other. The Trumps versus the anti-Trumps. I won't call it the pro-Hillarys, because I don't think there's any pro-Hillarys. There's just Trumpers and anti-Trumpers. And it's just so, I mean, yeah, I can't respect anybody who's voting for Trump. I mean, that's voting for a cartoon character. That's not even a good one. It's like voting for, I don't know, Mickey Mouse's brother or something. Just insanely stupid. So what was I saying? Yeah, so we got all these real problems, and this should be the least of our problems, arguing about whether there are some people online who are a little bit wacky in terms of their conspiracy theories. Yeah, fine. I'm not saying you can't argue against them. I'm just saying that there's some sort of real threat here. It's just nonsense. Making this extra fight between men and women just seems like a really stupid thing to do. And for men, like I said, I can't see any logic to men not recognizing that they really wouldn't want to be a woman. I mean, no penis. You get pregnant. You have periods. You got to tie your boobs up. And if you're not pretty, you're useless. I mean, fuck, that's pretty bad, right? I mean, useless in the sense that you might end up lonely for something totally irrelevant, something that shouldn't matter, has nothing to do with your internal beauty. And we know as men, you can get away with that because you can have money, and you can have power, you can have charisma, or some other bullshit, and women aren't going to be as particular about all the ugly shit that men have, because they're not genetically as visual. And this is real. And so you men are really realistically saying you want to be a woman. Is that what you're saying? You think women have it so good and it's so fun to be a woman that, you just wish you could have been a woman because they have all the cheats and all the advantages. Bullshit. Anyway, I mean, there are a lot of you converting to woman. I can't, it's not deniable. There is an awful lot of men going, query or whatever. But I don't think it's any of these SJWs. But maybe. I mean, maybe they all do sit around in women's underwear and, you know, do all that, wear stockings and shit, and who no fuck knows. I mean, maybe that is just who they are. They just wish they were girls. I guess. Maybe. Anyway, I don't. You know, I just don't. Living without a penis, I just don't see how that could work at all. Life is just completely insensible. You know, why? There's just no point in living then. Fuck. I mean, there's no point even with a penis, but there's really no point with one, without one. Nope, nope, nope. Anyway, so, till next time. Such. Yeah, I think that's enough now. Yeah, so, Thunderfoot's a cunt, and a fucking preposterous pussy.